Okay, so now this will, you probably already kind of get it, but this will try to clear things up a little bit more. All right. This shape here is not really a C shape. This shape here, not really an E shape. This shape here, it's not a D shape. And this shape, not a G shape. This shape, wait, did I do D? Not a A, okay, A, not a A shape. But it is a chord shape. It's a shape that we use, right? D or C or E or A. It's just a shape of our fingers that we use to play a chord. Any chord. The only reason why we say that this is a C chord shape is because when we learn that shape, we learned it in the open position and it just happens to be a C. So we learn it as C. Oh, this shape is C. But it's really just a shape, right? We could call it shape 1, right? And then we'd be like, oh, well, if we put shape 1 right here, it's a C chord. But if we move shape 1 up 2 frets and play it here, it's a D chord, right? Because C, C sharp, D. All right, same with this E shape, right? Let's call that shape 2. Well, if I play shape 2 up here, it's A. If I play shape 2 here, it's G. If I play in the open position, shape 2 just happens to be E. So because we first learn the chords in the open position, that's what we associate with those shapes. But they're just shapes. Okay, we could call this Harold, right? And be like, well, Harold, like when you work on the first floor, you're playing E. But if we send Harold up to the 5th floor, he's playing A, right? So the point is to don't so tightly associate the specific chord like C or D or E with a certain shape. When everybody that first learns guitar, they all learn these chords in the open position. So C, E, A, D. So then they kind of like say, oh yeah, well that's D, that's a D shape. But it's really just a chord shape. And there's 5 different ones, right? There's C, there's A. Well, I don't even want to say that, but there's this one, there's this one, there's this one, there's this one. Okay? So don't, they're just shapes. They just happen to be certain chords on certain places on the fret, but you could use any shape to play any chord depending on where you put it on the fret. Okay, so I hope that makes sense and that wasn't too confusing, but I wanted to say that. Okay.